What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another week of the Oil and Gas Startups Podcast. Today, we got my boy, Sean, founder of IronSight and former reigning champ. Well, I guess not former, still reigning champion of Energy Tech Night Midland. So, got the champ in the house. Don't have the belt with him to represent, but I heard it's still hanging in the office.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we display it loud and proud up in the big office. Yeah,
there we go. So tell us real quick, high level, what do you guys do, and we'll dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So IronSight, it's very simple. We've worked tremendously hard to simplify how we explain IronSight. So connect demand and supply in the oil and gas logistics space.
Okay.
It's you'll hear the story of the company, but really where we focus is on onboarding oil and gas producers, their service providers, and we facilitate the transaction. So
awesome.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, I love how you said that you've worked really hard to simplify what you do, because it's actually hard.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely hard. Yeah.
And so I respect that. I understand, like, especially in the oil and gas industry, some people like to go into the weeds of what they do, and it's hard to just get to the point of what is it. So.
Yeah, we could go for hours on the details, but high level, connect demand and supply, and facilitate it to go through.
Yeah. So tell me real quick. We saw a presentation, I think it was about a year ago, at the Energy Tech Night in Midland. Yeah, I think it was November of 2021. You guys crushed it. Obviously, you took home the championship belt, so it resonated with a lot of people. But I think if y'all were pretty early stage at that point, if I'm not mistaken. And I know you guys have for sure grown a lot since then. So, let's talk about your background. You're from Canada.
Sure.
So we'll start there and talk about what your background is and how you got to the idea of IronSight and then the growth. So start at point of inception.
Yeah, sure. So the background, it's quite unique, quite different, and super proud of where we came from. Myself, I'm an electrician by trade. Grew up in a small northern Alberta town, oil town. Typical story, go work. And then I ended up working for an oil and gas producer, ConocoPhillips. Adam, the other co-founder, production engineer, he has mechanical engineer degree, and we came together and took all the learnings that we learned working for oil and gas producers in 2014. We started a service company, so vac trucks, pressure trucks, but how we determined and how we wanted to gain market share was build an app and take all the frustrations of working on the producer side of the business.
Yeah.
Where, zero accountability, don't know where any of my resources are, not sure what's going on. We took all that, built out an app MVP for our company. Yeah. And our clients would go onto our app and order us and track us. And, that was our business plan.
Yeah. So that was your MVP, was actually building it for yourself. And you guys saw this problem and developed a solution for it internally.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's fast forward to 2017. A few of our clients on the service side said, "Hey, we love your service. Good work, Sean and Adam. We love the hustle. We actually like your software more. We want to take your software and do what we do with you, your company, and we want to put all of our other service providers on it." So we really looked into the market and seen nothing, talking about demand to supply. There's really nothing bridging that gap.
Yeah.
So maybe, a bit looking into the forefront at that time. So we spun out, have nothing to do with the trucks today.
Yeah.
Big risk, I don't need to go and tell people about the whole story, but you can imagine, right? We have 2 young kids Adam and I both have young kids, and we're getting out of the vac truck and going into software.
Yeah.
So, brought development in-house, long story, fast forward to, let's just say today.
Yeah.
A team of just over 40.
Yeah.
Deployed to every major basin in North America. So when we came down to Midland, this is our intention. We've been very intentional about this, and our buyers and our folks that we work with are in those basins. They're not maybe always Houston based or Calgary based or the major centers. So we went to Houston with you guys. That I'll give you guys a shout out for sure. I think really connected us or at least got us visible with the people that we need to go have meetings with.
Yeah.
So today rolling out with some major producers in the US. In Canada, we have a good market share up there and growing a decent user base.
Yeah.
I think most importantly though, we've we don't sit here and say we're perfect and we have this flawless. It's a challenge rolling out digital software into a logistics space in oil and gas.
Yeah. Enterprise software, especially in the oil and gas industries, is tough, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Nothing easy about it.
There's nothing easy about it.
Yeah.
So what I'm so proud of our team though is, we've been able to get through a lot of the tough challenges and we have about 10,000 monthly users on the platform.
Awesome.
We'll get
let's rewind a little bit. So you mentioned supply and demand, which demand I am assuming is oil and gas companies, E&Ps that need services, and then supply is the service side. So I'm assuming this kind of ranges across all services, oil field services, whether it's workover rigs, roustabouts, water haulers. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing maybe I'll correct is, we're seeing more and more internal resources that, go execute work for these companies. Example, a mechanic that might work for the E&P in themselves, they're actually putting those resources on the platform as well. So, really touching into more of like scheduling, getting into more and more of the details.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I remember like years back, I don't think they still have it anymore, but Pioneer Natural Resources had an entire well servicing division, and they were vertically integrated. And so I'm sure you have, different types of, pumpers and mechanics and electricians that are just,
so widespread from pumpers to like janitors to frac sand to frac water to, we really sweet spot is really day-to-day production ops. So anything that's related to day-to-day production ops is really where we strive and branch out into more and
so
more.
You guys have, you've built this out both between E&Ps and service providers, but then have an internal tool as well that can be used for these companies the same way. So that's really interesting. Y'all's backgrounds, you said Adam was at an E&P as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What was was he an engineer? Or
he mechanical engineer. He worked, summers as like a pumper or an operator, if you might, every summer.
I love it.
And then went and actually he was designing drilling rigs and workovers for a large company. Yeah.
Nice. So neither one of y'all have developed software before this?
No.
So gone from oil field, electrician and, oil and gas ops to developing software. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Reason I think it's cool is because, you and I are both founders, and we've developed some technology and software within Digital Wildcatters. And sometimes I get comments like, "Oh, well, you're not a technical founder." I'm like, "Dude, fuck you. I drilled 40,000 foot oil and gas wells out in the middle of Gulf of Mexico. It's pretty technical."
I think we get that. We've gotten that too. And the response is actually quite simple. Like Adam, I can't go on long enough about, him being my partner for so long. But designing a drilling rig, so now he heads up our product. Like there's a ton of correlation there. We say this all the time. We're not a software company. We're a business. Yeah. So you need to have implementation. You need to sell, and you need to sell properly, and you need to know their problems. So yeah, you're right. We don't have this technical, but we got some like just quality people that have been with us from the start. And, I consider them just as much founders as well too.
Yeah. There was this company, still is a company called Figma, and Figma is really popular in design, and they sold out to Adobe. And anyways, I saw this quote from the founder of Figma, and this isn't verbatim, but general gist of it. And he said, we're very fortunate that we work with bits and not atoms. It's not like we're out here developing, furniture, like it's software. Yeah. And so I've always thought about that. I mean, when you're in the oil and gas industry, you're used to dealing with atoms and molecules, and it's pretty fucking challenging business. So when you come from there, everything is it's doable. And like you said, like you're just building a business, so you have to have all these systems and processes and know how to run a business. So let's talk about y'all's team real quick, because you got team members in Texas and in Alberta.
Yeah.
Are those the two main locations where y'all have personnel right now?
Yeah. I'd say Alberta and Texas. Yeah, there are.
What's the makeup of y'all's team look like? Are these all software developers? Do you have people that come from oil and gas that are technical sales? Like what type of talent does it take to build y'all's company?
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. Like IronSight is truly a bunch of what we always say misfits.
Yeah.
Now, I'll explain to you and, clients that might hear that. Here's the difference. We have folks from, our customer success team is led up by a guy, Matt Edwards, who, 12-year banking career. So what's good in banking is processes, right? So he brings that to the table. We have our BD guys, they've been in the oil and gas business and they know how to sell and they know who they're talking to. So folks in Calgary and in Houston and Midland, doing that. Yeah, we also have technical sales guys that, came from oil and gas, so they know the problem, but they have a heavy skill set in being able to convert that into how IronSight can be deployed and solve those problems.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have your traditional, the engineering side, Mike Milner and Craig Carnes, and the team that kind of heads up that for us and come from a very traditional software product building background. So all over. We also have, we have 12 folks in what we call managed services. Mm-hmm. So, what you heard me talk about demand and supply, we heard this about 2 years ago. Man, it would be nice if we could, get somebody to run the software for us and really connect those dots. Well, Adam and I, entrepreneurial guys, and, taking the less traditional financing route and raising big amounts of cash, we needed to find a way to self-fund the growth and follow that. So we, experts in the field went and hired a bunch of folks, and our clients allow us to connect the dots for them. And
so you got this service business,
managed services.
Yeah, managed services that it's great for y'all because it produces revenue so you can grow the rest of the business without taking on heavy dilution in the future, and solves a problem for the clients, right? And so is this like, you're playing like operator or dispatcher essentially? Is that what it is?
It's exactly that. So we have folks sitting like a command center.
Yeah.
The request, so the demand side, you'll hear the workflow: request, schedule, execute, document, and integrate. That's our 5 steps and how we get this done. But the request side, they come in off the app, off of, IoT devices in the field, off of wherever.
Yeah.
And then our folks are there scheduling it for them.
That's awesome.
And, they're working with the supply side to say, hey, this is how many trucks I need, or this is what you're going to go do tomorrow. And, they don't need to really communicate with them because we onboard the supply side and we're just bridging the gap. To give you a perspective, probably any given day, there's thousands of units out there that under this kind of model and this control, and really strong, moving it into the Permian a bit, but very strong up in Canada.
Yeah. How do y'all think about the back end analytics on this? And you have all this data essentially from different operations and call outs. Is there anything that y'all are doing with that in terms of let's just say like, hey, you have a water hauler up in this area and you're able to route them over because they're already close by. Do you guys think about any back end analytics like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we don't know what we don't know about all the analytics. I'd say I'd start with that. There's no such thing as bad data at this point. But what we're doing with our data right now is definitely giving insights to miles traveled, kilometers traveled. You have everything from
appreciate you defaulting to converting for us Americans.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we believe down the road, not an AI system running your whole field. That's not right. But what we do believe in is scalability and having the analytics or the data, probably most importantly, just helping assist making decisions.
Yeah.
Giving an example, we had a client that used to say, we can't run our field without 10 back trucks in it all times. Hey, great challenge, great start for us. We went in there, 6 months later, we benchmarked and we were able to show you can run it with 4.
Oh, wow.
Now, if we look at that, you go to the supply side. Well, this thing just, it just deteriorates my revenue. And no, it actually makes you just more efficient. Yeah. I think every single service company that would be listening to this today would say, man, it'd be nice to have more people. Well, the goal for us is not to deteriorate that. It's to optimize the entire
Yeah. I mean, if
request,
you can
schedule,
optimize
execute.
your assets, right? Like you want
Yeah.
a sufficient utilization of your assets as possible.
I would much
right?
rather
So-
have 20 trucks running at a 80% utilization than 35 at 60. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The business model here, you know, you have two sides of a market. You have the service providers and the EMPs. Are you charging the EMPs? Are you charging the service providers? How do y'all make money?
Yeah. Yeah. So the answer is both. Right now, our typical model would be, you know, we'll sell to their, or we'll onboard on the demand side. They say, here's the 20 companies that we want to onboard to, you know, just put this digital workflow together.
Yeah.
They come on for free, right? The bill's taken care of on the demand side, but you know, they'll start engaging with us, and our customer success team and our teams will look and say, you know, we don't call them sales because we don't, you know, believe in that.
Yeah.
It's actually giving them something. Hey, does this make sense to have an integration into this system out of IronSight for your ticketing? Does it make sense to have this billing system? Or, hey, do you guys need forms to do all of your truck inspections? Or, hey, do you need e-logs? So that's really how we see it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and right now we're converting, you know, the supply side over, you know, a couple companies a week. We really kind of a soft launch into that to make sure we get it right and get some good feedback. But then we also have just supply side companies that just use us for, you know, they onboard their demand side, their customers.
Yeah.
Hey, go onto our, you know, Collins Trucking app and they can request all of our work, and, you know, that will help them out. So yeah, we have it going both ways.
Yeah. That's why did this not exist before? Because like theoretically, I mean, it's a pretty simple concept, right? Of
Don't disagree.
Hey, we're just connecting, and we've seen peer-to-peer marketplaces, all different sectors, you know,
And they're pretty simple.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of the big ones.
Yeah, and they're pretty simple.
Yeah.
I mean,
Craigslist is probably the biggest.
Craigslist is the granddaddy of the internet, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's actually funny because I have this chart and it shows Craigslist and all the different verticals that are listed on Craigslist. And I mean, there's been multi-billion-dollar marketplace platforms that are just stripped off verticals, you know, whether it was Airbnb, StubHub.
Yep.
I mean, so, you know, I'm a big marketplace fanatic over here. I study a lot of them. And it's just kind of crazy, you know, to hear you say that, yeah, we analyzed the market and no one was out here doing it. Do you think that, you know, let's talk about like adoption of the platform. Because it sounds like y'all got this started in 2017.
Yeah, that's really when we kind of converted here.
Okay, yeah. And you have different EMPs on there. You know, you told me y'all came to Energy Tech Night and got some badass Permian operators, which is like I'm super proud of. Like I'm like, you know, that makes us smile around here to hear that.
Yeah.
So, but has there been like any pushback from these EMPs of like being on a platform together? Because, you know, traditionally speaking or historically speaking, like oil and gas companies are like weary of being on a platform together. So have you encountered any of that while taking the product to market? I'm just like curious how y'all have gotten over that hump.
Yeah. So like, to be very clear, when you deploy to some of these big operators, there's very, not strict, but very straightforward rules that you need to follow data wise. So data cannot be shared with anybody else. So that's where our secret sauce is in the tech and how that's kind of designed that EMP operator one still gets all of their data. It's in a segregated database, but they kind of play within the marketplace of what we're calling IronSight. So from adoption perspective, yeah, we need to meet those. We've met the hurdles and some of the biggest oil and gas producers in the world. So, you know, we've been able to get through that. But adoption, it's just like I said earlier, it's not easy. It doesn't just happen. And, you know, you need to be persistent and you need to listen. I think where another secret sauce is that, you know, our backgrounds now, you know, we understand that the guys in the field, they matter. And to get good adoption for the whole marketplace, connecting demand and supply to work, you need to have demand willing, and you also need to have supply, and you also need that guy on the field. So listening to them,
which isn't a trivial task, right? I mean, making software for a field hand that makes their life, like you have to make their life easier, right? And you got to add some value to it.
At least you have to show the value. I think that's the biggest thing. Like everybody understands, because writing out a field ticket or texting and calling and getting, where am I going today? Like, that's not easy.
Yeah.
So we just got to put that in perspective that, hey, this is why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's all for the betterment of the industry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that's a very high level thinking, but
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. That's, I've seen lots of problems like this throughout the industry. And it's funny because, I've seen like some blockchain solutions and just like other things that are being used. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you need a centralized platform that focuses on data security, make sure that nothing's leaked. And hey, we've got siloed databases. So, a company or EMP XYZ, you have access to your data, but it's here. And
like we, if, in the term of trying to be simple, like Craigslist, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
What was that previously in the 1910s? As a trading post.
Yeah.
Guys used to drive there, drop it off. Here's what I want to sell. Now they, fast forward to now, they post it on the internet and they sell it. So for us, our trading post is request, schedule, execute.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a million times a day. And we say this to all of our clients. You're doing that already. It's just through text, email, call. Maybe there's some sort of system out there that you need to, email over work orders. Well, what we say is this is the new way of requesting, scheduling, and executing work. And here are the benefits. And if you look at how we do our implementations, all of our clients, the big demand side, have input data. So big ERPs, the SAPs, Maximos, in the Microsoft systems. And then they all have output systems. So their production accounting, their data, their ticketing, their AP, analytics reporting.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, we're just replacing the phone calls to connect them. The COO of a major company that we work for continues to tell us, just be the app closest to the wellhead for us, connect those pipelines, collect that data for us, do it in a simple way, and we'll push you to wherever we need to go do that. So we take that, and now we're looking at a much granular level here.
Yeah. I love that you brought up Craigslist, because when you look at these marketplaces, one like overall thing here is that in traditional industries like oil and gas, you can look at things that have happened in tech in other industries and think, okay, how can I apply that to these older, more traditional industries? And marketplaces, like I said, I just love marketplaces because once you get them going and you get the network effects, like look at Craigslist. Craigslist still has more traffic than any website in the world, despite it only having 12 employees and looking like it was developed in the 90s, but it just has those network effects. And so it's really cool to hear that, we're starting to get some traction in marketplaces like this, because it actually solves problems. It solves, efficiency and operations, and saves money on both sides. And so what have been the challenges for you guys in building this? I mean, whether it was adoption and getting your first pilot, building the team, like what's been the hardest thing for you guys?
Yeah, I think like look what we've came through for the last couple of years. So
building through.
Let's fast forward or rewind to 2014, like the day we bought the vac truck. Yeah. Remember the story? We bought the vac. Oil dropped like 20% in the next 2 weeks. So it's like, what are we doing? So focused on that. I think probably the toughest thing for us has just been like change is hard. It like flat out change is hard. Have we been perfect and always had this? No, but change is just different. Everyone, if you're used to just getting a text for 20 years doing the same fluid haul, and now you have to go onto an app and start a job and stop it. It's really that simple. It's just change. So change would have to be that. Now, what's the funnest part about our job and what we're doing is change. Like, love the passion you'll find with us, especially myself. It's fun to see everybody knows that there's a better way to do it and there's a light at the tunnel. So I think, we're halfway through that tunnel right now.
Yeah.
But, working with clients and, we got some really exciting stuff coming up here in Q1 and 2. And lights, we're getting closer to that tunnel. I say this all the time, like 2 steps forward, 1 back. We're humble. We understand that step back, we have to learn, or else we won't get to the next step. So it's been a really fun challenge.
Yep. Building out enterprise software can be challenging, just like you said, 2 steps forward, 1 back. Especially like in these industries, because if you mess up once, it's hard to get a second chance, right?
Yep.
You turn a customer,
Absolutely.
like anytime you like listen to Silicon Valley, type companies that are making productivity software, like you turn customers, like it's not that big of a deal. There's a million other customers out there, but in oil and gas, there's not a million customers, right? And so you got to make sure that you do good work and that you please the clients that you have. So how do you balance? I want to talk about like growth and how y'all have balanced that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because to my knowledge, to this point, have y'all raised any capital, or are you bootstrapped?
Yeah, I know we've raised a bit of capital.
Okay,
for sure.
So you raised some capital, but still
not a lot though.
Yeah. But you are growing, at least from your internal headcount. I know y'all have grown significantly, so I take that as a sign that your accounts are also growing along with it.
Yep.
How do you balance growing and adding clients to the platform and making sure that they're having success? I know you mentioned that y'all have a customer success team. Talk about that a little bit, because I was actually, to set this up for context, I was talking with another oil and gas tech startup that's crushing it, and they're bootstrapped, and they could ramp up their growth even more, but they want to make sure that they're focusing on what's important. And so how have y'all handled that?
Yeah, I think let's start the very beginning, how we kind of came up with the thing, right? The idea is, we started with the problem, figured out how to solve it for our internally. Next step was, okay, well, how do we get to 2 clients? And, 2 clients came, 3 clients came, and we said, okay, well, let's raise a little bit of capital, not a significant amount, but enough where we can go bring engineering in-house, get, 1 customer success person in as help on sales. Okay. We do that. We've been able to manage the growth just doing that repeatedly. So let's look at the building blocks. How many users have we added? How much oil have we moved? How many, support tickets do we have? It's all stuff we measure to make sure that, when we go do this and we can bring on 3 more customers in 1 quarter, that it's there and we can support them. It's important to know for our big clients and all of our clients, matter of fact, is they just want to know that you're not going to just give them something and leave. So Adam and I, again, and all of our investors, we make that very clear. Like, we're not just going to go grow to grow. We're going to grow with quality revenue. We're going to grow with opportunities. And there's going to be times that, we can't do a deal just because of, we've had that recently, is like, we just can't go and do that deal. We're sorry. Can you wait, 2 quarters for us?
Yeah. That's discipline right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely have learned to say no. And that's important to understand. And I think our clients would respect that, there's times that we just know we can't do that for you guys right now. And
let's talk about like the differentiation between clients, because as you mentioned, they all have different systems and, SAP or, whatever it may be. And so I'm sure there's, a unique onboarding process for all of those. But let's say that you have a service company, a water hauling company or whatever it may be. Can they service all of their, like, if there's 5 clients on that platform that they all have MSAs with, can they work with all those clients?
Yeah. So great teaser into what we want to talk about. So
did I set you up for an alley-oop
boom.
here?
Yeah. We didn't even plan that, I swear. So service company, let's call it Collins Water Hauling.
Yeah.
Great. Like, be a client of ours. They can onboard. They can tell their trucks, their drivers where you're going. They can collect their ticket. We're not a field ticketing platform. It's a byproduct of what we do. We really focus at request, schedule, execute. So now, the secret sauce that we've been working on for a long time is launching IronSight Marketplace. So Collins Water Hauling will be able to, go work for E&P 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just say they're all clients, and they're going to be able to work in one digital environment.
Mm-hmm.
Their one login where they go do their work, and IronSight will be able to connect them to E&P 1, 2, 3, 4, And if their clients in IronSight enabled, that's a term we use. If they're IronSight enabled, we just connect the link. Cool. And they're able to send over their requests, their jobs. They go do their work for Collins Water Hauling. EMP1 can get their data. So very important that the scrutiny and the security is in place so that, both sides of the market can get the data and the information they need out of it. So we, to even further that, even the kind of the next scenario we think about is, we have EMP clients working with other EMP clients. Yeah. So interesting. It doesn't just have to be demand and supply. Now we have this marketplace that demand can work with demand and, share resources or, facilitate water transfers and like a ton of different stuff that we're seeing. And nice. The hard work for 2 years has been done, the discipline to get to this point. And Q1, 2, we have some really exciting stuff like that.
So let me ask you like some technical questions on that. Like, say I'm EMP1 and I just put out a request and I said, hey, I need a water hauler here, boom, on this lease. Do we have to have a pre-existing MSA in place, or is there some credential process in our
So to be very, very clear, like EMP has to allow that to happen. We don't get in the middle of the MSA. That's done outside the platform. We've listened to our clients. They don't want that. Yeah. They, there's been some other startups that have tried that. And it's just not scalable and, not that. So they have to approve that link, obviously. Yeah. And, that link is like literally
essentially
click of a box and
they do the MSA outside of the platform, same process that they've always used. And then both parties get on the platform and then you're able to verify that connection. And
we facilitate the requesting, scheduling, and executing of work. And then whatever information that EMP1 client wants to document, let it be a production accounting or field ticketing or cost or whatever. Yeah. It's just, it hits home for both clients, supply and demand. And awesome. We're off and running. Yeah.
Has that marketplace, have y'all launched that yet? Or
we got it working in a couple spots. Yeah. Nothing major. Yeah. Back to that discipline. Like we only get one chance to launch this. So a lot of sleepless nights, I'll give shout outs to a lot of our guys in our team, just the discipline to build this out. Adam and Craig Carnes is another guy and Mike Milner and Greg Patterson. Like the engineering team that we have is, it's incredible when you can connect a guy like myself or, we have a guy, Mark Ruderham, he spent 20 years trucking and dispatching. He's one of our main guys at our company because he can feed that information and he knows that, certain points that this needs to happen. Yeah. So, we spend a lot of time in this boardroom where we hang the belt and, we get in there and we're excited to launch this.
Deriving inspiration from the championship belt.
Exactly. That's exactly what we
let everyone know they got some big shoes to fill. Yeah. They gotta go make you guys happy.
So just as important to go and do that, we got to go tell the story a bit. And
that's awesome, man. So obviously lots of people listening to this podcast are probably interested in IronSight and what you guys do. So where can they find y'all if they're interested in finding some information? How do they get signed up on the platform? Give us some information for them.
So super easy. IronSight.app. So IronSight.app. The .com guy that owns it will never give it to us now, so bear with us. The best spot, request demos. You'll get linked right into us, and we'll follow that. We're pretty big we use LinkedIn. It's a good tool for the professionals, and we can connect with our clients there. So IronSight on LinkedIn is a good one too.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll drop a link in the show notes to IronSight. So if you're listening and you want to check them out, just go there and connect with Sean over on LinkedIn. He's a good dude. Got to know him over the last year, and every time I see him now, they're just crushing it and making more progress. So appreciate you coming on the show, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, if y'all enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and leave us 5-star reviews. That's how we keep doing this thing, how we keep growing it, just by you sharing it with everyone and spreading the gospel of oil and gas startups. We will catch y'all on the next episode.